He was tall, blonde, and charming. For a decade, Karl Wolff stood at Himmler's side, managing the machinery of terror. Then, in April 1945, he made a phone call that ended a war. Nearly 1 million soldiers surrendered. Wolff walked free. So how did Himmler's right-hand man become the man who negotiated peace and escaped justice for decades? Karl Friedrich Otto Wolff was born on May 13, 1900 in Darmstadt, Germany. His father was a respected district court judge. His mother came from a family of foresters. The Wolffs were solidly upper-middle class, and young Karl, nicknamed Karella by his father, grew up in comfort and privilege. When the First World War erupted, Wolff was still a teenager. In April 1917, he passed his emergency secondary exams and immediately volunteered for the Imperial German Army. He joined one of the most prestigious units in the German military, the Leibgarde Infantry Regiment No. 115, the Hessian Guard Infantry Regiment led by the Grand Duke of Hesse-Darmstadt himself. By September 1917, Wolff was serving on the Western Front. He proved himself in combat. At just 17 years old, he earned both the Iron Cross Second Class and First Class for bravery. By September 1918, he had been promoted to lieutenant, one of the youngest officers ever commissioned in the German army. Then came defeat. The armistice of November 1918 shattered the world Wolff had known. Like many young veterans, he refused to accept Germany's surrender. From December 1918 to May 1920, he served in the Hessian Freikorps, one of the paramilitary units that fought communists and defended Germany's borders in the chaotic post-war period. But the Treaty of Versailles forced massive reductions in the German military. Wolff's dream of a military career was over. He took a banking apprenticeship at the Bettman Bank in Frankfurt. In 1923, he married Frieda von Rumheld from a respectable family. The couple moved to Munich, where Wolff worked for Deutsche Bank. Then the economy collapsed. In 1924, Wolff lost his job. He scraped together enough to start his own advertising firm in 1925, but the Great Depression nearly destroyed it. By 1931, like millions of Germans, Wolff was bitter, disillusioned, and searching for answers. He found them in the Nazi Party. In October 1931, Wolff applied to join the Sturmabteilung, the Nazi stormtroopers. A recruiter looked at the tall, blonde, blue-eyed veteran and offered different advice. "A big blonde fellow like you should join the SS." Wolff took that advice. It would change his life and cost countless others theirs. Karl Wolff rose through the SS with remarkable speed. Commissioned as an SS Sturmführer in February 1932, he caught the attention of Heinrich Himmler at the Reich Leadership School in Munich just months later. Wolff was not impressed at first. Himmler was shorter, wore spectacles, and had never seen combat. But Himmler recognized something valuable in Wolff: his aristocratic bearing, his military credentials, his connections to bankers and industrialists. In June 1933, Himmler appointed Wolff as his personal adjutant. It was a perfect match. Where Himmler was awkward and bookish, Wolff was charming and polished. Where Himmler inspired fear, Wolff inspired trust. One historian described him as the acceptable face of the SS, tall, elegant, reassuringly reasonable. He became Himmler's fixer, his diplomat, his problem solver. By 1936, Wolff held the title of Chief of Personal Staff Reichsführer SS. He coordinated all SS affairs at party and state levels, oversaw economic investments, and supervised organizations like Ahnenerbe and Lebensborn. That same year, he was elected to the Reichstag. On January 30, 1939, he received the Golden Party Badge. By 1942, he had risen to SS Obergruppenführer and General of the Waffen-SS, effectively third in command of the entire SS. But Wolff's hands were already stained. On September 8, 1939, days after Germany invaded Poland, he ordered the arrest of all male Jews of Polish nationality and confiscation of their property. In August 1941, Wolff accompanied Himmler to Minsk. There, they watched Einsatzkommando 8 carry out a mass execution. Wolff later described how Himmler stood at the edge of the pit as prisoners were shot in rows. The violence was overwhelming. Himmler turned green and vomited. Wolff watched it all. Then came August 1942. Deportations from the Warsaw Ghetto were slowing down. Rail transport bottlenecks. Wolff intervened personally, contacting Reich Railway Director Albert Gansenmüller. On August 13th, he dictated a thank you letter. In it, he wrote, "I note with particular pleasure that for the past 14 days, a train has been running daily with 5,000 members of the chosen people to Treblinka. 5,000 human beings, every single day, and Karl Wolff called it a pleasure." He signed the letter, filed it away, and continued with his duties. He would later claim he barely glanced at it, but those words, typed on official SS stationery, bearing his signature, would follow him for the rest of his life. By early 1943, cracks had appeared in Karl Wolff's charmed career. His health was failing, kidney stones required surgery, his marriage was collapsing, and his relationship with Himmler was about to rupture. Wolff had fallen in love with Countess Ingeborg von Bernstorff, a tall, elegant widow. He wanted a divorce. Himmler refused. The Reichsfuhrer SS believed the family was sacred to the SS ideology. Divorce was a betrayal of everything the organization stood for. Wolff did something few men dared. He went over Himmler's head, directly to Adolf Hitler. The Führer granted permission. On March 6, 1943, Wolff's divorce was finalized. 3 days later, he married the Countess. Himmler was furious. In April 1943, he dismissed Wolff as his chief of staff and liaison to Hitler. But Himmler still valued his protégé. In September 1943, Wolff received a new assignment, Supreme SS and Police Leader in Italy. It was a powerful position. Wolff oversaw security operations, prisons, concentration camps, forced labor deportations, and anti-partisan warfare across occupied northern Italy. He also served as Hitler's special envoy to Benito Mussolini, who had been rescued by German paratroopers and installed as head of a puppet government at Zalo. According to Wolff's later testimony, Hitler gave him another mission during a meeting on September 13, 1943. The Führer allegedly ordered him to occupy Vatican City, seize its treasures, and kidnap Pope Pius XII. Wolff claimed he stalled the operation and secretly warned the Vatican, ultimately preventing the abduction. Some scholars question this account. No documentary evidence of the order has ever surfaced. Historian Istvan Deák has noted that Wolff's post-war testimony should be treated with skepticism. Others argue Wolff may have exaggerated his role to burnish his reputation after the war. What is certain is that by February 1945, Wolff recognized the inevitable. The Allies had pushed the German forces 4/5 of the way up the Italian peninsula. The Wehrmacht was crumbling on all fronts. Hitler raged in his bunker, issuing impossible orders. Wolff made a calculation. Germany would lose. The only question was what happened next, to Germany, to Italy, and to himself. Through Italian and Swiss intermediaries, he reached out to American intelligence. The message was simple: he wanted to negotiate. In February 1945, Karl Wolff's message reached Alan Dulles, the Office of Strategic Services station chief in Bern, Switzerland. Dulles was intrigued. Here was one of the most powerful SS generals in Europe offering to surrender nearly 1 million men. The negotiations began carefully. Swiss intelligence officer Max Weibel served as intermediary. On March 8, 1945, Wolff traveled secretly to Zurich for his first face-to-face meeting with Dulles. The American was impressed. He reported to Washington that Wolff represented a more moderate element in the Waffen-SS, describing him as probably the most dynamic personality in northern Italy. To prove his sincerity, Wolff released Ferruccio Pari, a senior Italian resistance leader and future prime minister, from German custody. It was a significant gesture. Dulles agreed to continue talking. On March 18th and 19th, Wolff met with Allied representatives in Ascona, a small Swiss village on Lake Maggiore. American Major General Lyman Lemnitzer and British Major General Terence Airey joined the discussions. Wolff offered unconditional surrender of all German forces in Italy, Army Group C, approximately 600,000 Wehrmacht soldiers, plus his own SS and police units. But complications mounted. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin learned of the talks and accused the Western Allies of negotiating a separate peace behind his back. Washington and London briefly suspended the operation. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring, the German commander in Italy, was transferred to the Western Front. His replacement, General Heinrich von Wittinghoff, proved reluctant to commit treason against Hitler. Then came the most dramatic moment. On April 26, 1945, Italian partisans surrounded Wolff at a villa in northern Italy. They intended to capture or kill him. Dulles authorized a rescue mission. A team of OSS agents and Swiss officials drove through the partisan cordon and extracted the SS general. 3 days later, on April 29th, German representatives signed the Instrument of Surrender at Allied headquarters in Caserta, Italy. The ceasefire took effect on May 2nd. Approximately 1 million German and Italian fascist soldiers laid down their arms. The war in Italy ended 6 days before Germany's general capitulation on May 8th. Operation Sunrise saved thousands of lives on all sides. It also prevented Tito's communist forces from seizing Trieste. For Karl Wolff, it bought something else entirely: his freedom. Wolff escaped Nuremberg by testifying for the prosecution. A denazification court sentenced him to 4 years. He served 1 week. For 15 years, he lived freely, running an advertising agency and building a lakeside villa. Then came the Eichmann trial. Old documents resurfaced. In 1964, prosecutors in Munich read aloud a letter dated August 13, 1942. In it, an SS general expressed his particular pleasure at 5,000 Jews per day being sent to Treblinka. The signature, Karl Wolff. He claimed he barely glanced at it before signing. The court didn't believe him. Sentenced to 15 years, released in 1971, Wolff died on July 17, 1984, still insisting he knew nothing. Peacemaker? War criminal? The letter answered that question long ago. Thanks for watching. Watch our other videos for more on the figures who shaped World War II. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more History Inside. And we'll see you in the next one.